Locked away at a spot that I didn't have a place since I'm not a junkie, I was dependent. And I quit all alone, and we should be clear it's a reasonable benefit of her to like in the express that she was and in all honesty, I see a period as a wait. I can't it finished in view of the carelessness of her creation organization. Concerning acknowledging how serious her accommodating enthusiasts of honey aren't just watching with popcorn, they're blunt about it. And contrast what is going on with the monetary situation Brittany Lance's experienced while under conservatorship. Regardless of whether you support Wendy, it's hard to deny the likelihood that we could all become targets, assuming that something like this can happen to a superstar of her height, is requesting admittance to her assets in the midst of her continuous fight in court with Wells Fargo Bank, which she says froze her records for a long time on the newspaper front pages. It very well might be viewed as it creates dramatization, cautioning the very judge that directed Wendy's hostile separation from her exhibition Kevin Tracker uncovered Wendy's declining funds gas. As per reports, Wendy's ledger is incredibly at zero. This stunning revelation follows Wendy's outcry against Wells Fargo and her previous business supervisor, who she blamed for cooperating to compel her into a monetary conservatorship. Fans are every one of the a shudder, contemplating whether a stalwart like Wendy can succumb who's protected. And when I started posing inquiries about my cash, unexpectedly Lori Stiller, how about we return somewhat barely a year prior, the bank executed a definitive strategic maneuver by freezing Wendy's resources, guaranteeing she was all excessively feeble to deal with her funds. Wendy put forth a decided attempt to declare her capability, yet the bank was unaffected. Hence the significant issue is, are we seeing an instance of monetary misrepresentation? Might Wendy at any point get her cash back? Or are the top financiers impervious? I need my cash. This is a little unreasonable. And Wells Fargo has no inquiries and replies with, in regards to my cash, hang on, while we uncover some really shocking data Wells Fargo attempted, as well as prevailed with regards to holding on to control of Wendy's funds. By depicting her as deranged on the off chance that it isn't marvelous, we should all concern assuming other bank clients are additionally in peril for Wendy. Things are as yet deteriorating. Our sovereign additionally hinted that her purse currently just holds back a pathetic $2, and in spite of the miserable aggregate, she couldn't in fact get her hands on it because of Wells Fargo's hold. As a result of tales that her wealth have evaporated the quarrel, yet first some group should be spilled to more readily grasp the foundation. Longtime perusers of our tattle Colin will recollect Wendy's concerns with substance misuse and various well-being panics over the course of the years. Recall that heart-halting second in October 2017, which she drooped on her own show, our most memorable stroke clarifying, I dropped due for overheating, yet I'm a champion. And I'm back. Who could fail to remember the contacting episode from February 2018? Wendy discussed her battle with Desire's disease, a perplexing sickness with a wide assortment of side effects that can become deadly, assuming untreated. Wendy Williams needed to persevere one more profound difficulty directly following her various medical problems. It became out that her until recently unwavering spouse Kevin Tracker had been subtly having an illicit relationship for a jumping 10 years with his side chick Sharina. In October 2020, this specific undertaking flagged the finish of their marriage. Yet get this, in 2019, Wendy's genuine admission came as a stunner when she let the cat out of the bag about her stretch in a level-headed residing office time now. And even today, and past, I have been residing in a cleanser. When Wendy later found Kevin was shamelessly financing Sharina's enterprising desires, clutch your seats, he likewise gave Sharina a lavish condo near Wendy's colossal New Jersey bequest as a gift. This opposite Barbie, as Wendy put it, you realize he was deceiving off cash. She is situated in the front seat of my Ferrari Rolls-Royce. And yes, I truly do imply that earnestly. Furthermore, I read about it in sensationalist newspapers and web journals. The area of this foundation, which he had purchased to impart to me in Livingston, was 9 miles away. And did Kevin have the nerve after his recovery? He excitedly guarded his adoration, Sharina on Instagram. Live as though that weren't sufficient, he straightforwardly guaranteed that she as opposed to Wendy was liable for the show's reverberating achievement, saying you realize I was unable to do it without the benevolent assistance of my sovereign. I reached the resolution that I needed to safeguard my whole family on the grounds that many individuals were endeavoring to exploit everything Michael and I had achieved in misfortune shook the syndicated program's sovereign's vocation, as she courageously fought her concerns and managed a deplorable separation. Sherry Shepard assumed control over her much-cherished syndicated program, the very stage that put her on the map. Yes, as you would have anticipated, Wendy's striking $10 million yearly compensation was decreased by this activity. Wendy's soul, however, stayed rugged. Those of the know are very much aware that she would have made a vital homecoming because of the sizable and dedicated fan base. She has love her or disdain. Her Wendy made a frank confirmation, expressing that subsequent to leaving therapy, she had begun new drives, yet predetermination had different thoughts as she was assembling the parts. Back Wells Fargo dipped in and discouraged her a significant investment of time and energy. As she was attempting to recover financially, the bank entirely froze every one of her resources, painting her as somebody unfit to deal with her funds. They even ventured to such an extreme as to demand that Wendy be given a gatekeeper to deal with her monetary undertakings. From the New York High Court terms and missions followed, Wendy brought Lori Stiller, her previous monetary guide, to light and blamed her for erroneously depicting her as unsuitable for Wells Fargo. The plot turns out to be more mind-boggling as Wendy's gathering cases that Lori's demonstrations were spurred by retribution as reprisal for Wendy terminating her. For acting improperly, Lori went farther than basically distorting Wendy's situation. She likewise tried to keep Wendy from approaching her own resources or monetary data. Wendy faced Lori and Wells Fargo in the open, blaming them for cooperating to detain her in a monetary conservatorship. Tragically, the equilibrium of equity tipped for Wells Fargo, and the court gave lawyer Sabrina Morrissey command over Wendy's assets, permitting her to conclude how each penny was spent from Wendy's tremendous ledger. When these monetary difficulties were not just her obligation to bear, her main child, Kevin Jr., additionally needed to manage the aftermath. As per our sources, Wendy's monetary guard dog unexpectedly quit subsidizing Kevin Jr.'s records, prompting the miserable removal from his rich Miami home in an unstable tell-all of the Sun. Kevin Jr. spilled some steaming hot tea right when you figured things couldn't get any more chaotic. He startlingly stated that Wendy's internal circle, or her supervisory group, was compelling her into liquor, exploiting her weakness during recuperation to get her into a tight monetary circumstance, and distributing the points of interest. Whoever was utilized in KET specialist's viewpoint is taking advantage of an individual who needs to further develop, he went on. After that, he said that Wendy's administration had her constrained into a corner and was forcing her to sign agreements either during or following her spells in recovery. When I discovered that she was consenting to exercises connected with her recuperation, I figured they were taking benefit. Kevin uncovered making suggestions to Wendy's group's terrible business. They gave her liberal utilization of substances, a not so unobtrusive green light. Even while they weren't really pouring the beverage for her, they were positively supporting her. From the stands, the Frank Kevinger said that in the event that they don't give it, they are obviously reassuring a specific character type and allowing her to drink liquor. Yet we should stop briefly and think, yes, Wendy's show might have raised a ruckus. Her design sense was what we say particular. Everybody, however, should be responsible for their well-deserved cash, addressing I report to chip away at time. And I'd stroll in and all of my colleagues, including my managers, would be aware, as opposed to terminating me, you say. I would get my earphones and haughtily stroll in the studio and challenge them to fire me, since I was making Assault the True Singer is that Hollywood is by all accounts used to this corrupt system stars are being taken advantage of by banking olivers. Working with the influence players in Hollywood sounds unmistakable goodness. It is I see an indication of Brittany Lance's battle, in which her supposed protectors broke her soul by giving her an excess of lithium prior to guaranteeing she is bumbling to deal with her cash. And when you thought it was a secluded episode, Kanye West uncovered in Stroll's Kenny West, with his story of misfortune that J.P. Morgan Pursue attempted to monetarily choke him. After he uncovered the strategies used to control VIPs in Hollywood, and they told Mind Oak, so they put a 75 million bucks, hang on 4 of my records. And afterward, they said you owe a ton of charges to sort out how much a ton was it took me around 6 hours I became.